orientation or you feel like you're about to crash, you could flip the switch all the way to the stabilized, also known as safe mode, and the ailerons will try to right side you up. Oh, and per your request, I'm going to demonstrate exactly how the Reflex works. It has some takeoff assistance to go along with the self-leveling and the stability for the wind. The FMS 1220mm Ranger is a PNP airplane. It comes equipped with the Reflex V2. That is a gyro to help stabilize the plane for gust of wind. It also has a function to keep the plane self-leveled for the roll and the pitch to really help out with beginners, or to take the experienced, give them a little break. They got time to scratch their head while the self-leveling is taking over for you. And it also has another mode of no help at all. So we can call it 3 different flight modes in the Reflex V2. The Reflex comes in many different FMS products, and each airplane, it is specifically programmed for that plane, and each plane the Reflex might do different jobs for. In this particular airplane, the 1220mm Ranger, it has some takeoff assistance to go along with the self-leveling and the stability for the wind. And per your request, I'm going to demonstrate exactly how the Reflex works and helps you in this particular Ranger. I'm going to install the Reflex V2 on my demonstration plane so we can see everything a little bit better, and I guess sit back and enjoy the show. This will be my last Reflex video. I've got to give the plane back to the owner tomorrow, and the Reflex goes with it. So hang on, I'm going to get my demo plane out. I'll show you how everything is connected to my receiver. Then we'll plug it up and go through all the flight control surfaces, and I'll just show you how everything works, how everything helps you, how it reacts to your inputs, etc. Hang on! This is my demo plane. If you've never seen it before, the little blue flag will represent our motor. When I give it throttle, the flag will move back and forth, to represent the propeller spinning. We have the Reflex mounted in the demo plane exactly how the Reflex is mounted inside the Ranger. You have to mount the Reflex exactly how it is supposed to be mounted in each particular airplane, or the gyro will not work the way it's supposed to. The Reflex being mounted this way knows what is the front of the airplane, it knows what is the left of the airplane, it knows what is right side up. So it has to be mounted exactly per the FMS directions. Let me give you a little close-up here. All right, Reflex V2 is mounted just like it's supposed to be mounted per the FMS directions, and this is exactly how it was mounted in the Ranger just a few minutes ago before I put it right here, with all of these servo leads facing towards the front of the airplane and these servo leads to the rear of the airplane. When you get your PNP airplane that has the Reflex already installed, these 4 servo plugs right here will already be connected to the plane. One of the leads will be leading to the speed controller. Another one of the leads will be leading to the, I can't say it, the ailerons, the aliens on a Y harness. Another one of the leads will be going back to the elevator, and another one of the leads will be going to the rudder. If you happen to have a plane that has retracts or flaps, those do not go through the Reflex. They will go directly from your receiver, because flaps and retracts, they don't need a gyro to fly the airplane. Okay, so real quick, you can use any receiver, any transmitter of your choosing to operate the Reflex. I happen to be a Spectrum guy. One of the cool things about having a Reflex is you don't need an expensive receiver to run the Reflex. This is a AR610. It's very old. These are probably $10 on eBay. There's no telemetry, no gyro, no safe, no nothing, because you don't need anything. All the magic is happening in the Reflex. So you just need something to receive the signal from your transmitter to operate the Reflex. So real fast, how do we have this receiver connected to the Reflex? Before the receiver was plugged into the Reflex, I first created a model in my transmitter. And in the setup of creating the model, I got to this point right here, which I'll show you. So model select, there's our model right there. And after I created the wing type and the model name and all that stuff, I went to channel assign. And it tells me right here on my receiver where the control surfaces and speed control, etc., are supposed to be plugged into the receiver. So it's saying my throttle is channel 1, my aliens are channel 2, my elevator is channel 3, my rudder's channel 5. I'm using the gear channel to control the different flight modes on the Reflex. And then if we had flaps or retracts or something, we could assign them to the channel 6, but we don't. So now we know on my receiver, this is how this particular airplane needs to be plugged up. This receiver just so happens to have the control surfaces labeled directly on the receiver, but those might not always match your transmitter. This receiver came with a non-computerized transmitter where it was just a standard connection. But this is also the default connection. This first plug right here is the bind, then throttle, the aliens, elevator, rudder, gear, and aux1. That is how our transmitter told us to connect all the servos also. And then coming out of our receiver, it goes into the Reflex. And you look at your instruction manual, and the Reflex will say, channel 1 is so-and-so, okay? Here's quickly the Reflex instruction manual. So looking at from the top down, they have it numbered as channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4, and then this S-bus PPM channel is to control your different flight modes for the self-leveling, the stability, and then off. So it says channel 1 on the Reflex, you need to plug your aliens into it. And then channel 2 on the Reflex, you need to plug your elevator into it. And then channel 3 on the Reflex, you need to plug your throttle into it. And then channel 4 on the Reflex, you need to plug your rudder into it. And then this last channel on the Reflex, that's not numbered, is the S-bus PPM. Then you can plug your channel 5 channel into it if you want to control the flight modes from your transmitter. If you're only using a 4-channel receiver, then you can't control the flight modes from your transmitter. You will have to pick a flight mode you want to be in, and you're just stay in that one. So looking back at our receiver, this first plug is the bind, the second one is the throttle, but now the throttle goes into the Reflex on number 3. Okay, so as long as you pay attention and follow your channel assignment from your transmitter and plug it directly into the Reflex, just like that, everything will be fine. Conveniently from FMS, these leads coming out of the Reflex happen to be labeled. There's our aliens right there, which is coming out of channel 2 on the receiver and is plugged into channel 1 on the reflex. I've already bound up the transmitter to our Ranger, but let's go ahead and initiate it. The transmitter first, turn it on rather, and then I'm going to power the airplane. You would be plugging in your LiPo battery pack. I'm just going to turn this switch from the battery pack that I have powering our demo plane. Wait for it. Sounds like we're all good to go. Let's check our control surfaces here. We got the aliens, elevator, the rudder. When I give it throttle, blue flag will move. And I have the gear switch set up to control the flight modes. And there's a little light on the reflex. Let's take a look at this light here. So my channel 5 gear channel is what's controlling the different flight modes of the reflex. And you can see we have a solid LED light right there. I have my gear channel assigned to a 3-position switch so that we can access all 3 of the modes that the reflex has. It has a mode of off, doesn't help you at all. It has a mode for self-leveling, and then it has a mode for stability, which is for the wind. So when I flip my 3-position switch to another position, now the LED is flashing rather slow. And when I flip my switch again, I get a flash rather fast. Back to the manual real quick, down here in the bottom left. Note, gyro LED on is in stabilized mode. Gyro LED flash slowly. Gyro off. Gyro LED flashes rapidly. We're in optimized, okay? Now, what is each individual mode exactly? So the 3 different flight modes again, we have the stabilized mode, the gyro off, and the optimized. Okay, the stabilized mode is the self-leveling. The optimized mode is for stability, gust of wind, and then off. And the stabilized mode is the solid LED. Off, once again, is flashing slowly, and optimized is flashing rapidly. I currently have the reflex in the stabilized mode. We can also call it safe mode. Let's run through the control surface check on the transmitter. Then I'll demonstrate the stabilized, also known as maybe safe or self-leveling mode. So at the transmitter, when I take the alien stick and I push it to the right, I expect the right alien to go up, and it does. When I move the stick to the left, I expect the left alien to go up, and it does. When I pull down on the elevator, I expect the elevator to go up as if I'm making the front of the aircraft go up, and it does. When I push forward on the elevator stick, the elevator should go down like I'm wanting to make the airplane nose down, and it does. When I push the rudder stick to the left, I expect the rudder to move to the left as if you're trying to make a left-hand turn. Okay, just like that. When I move the rudder stick to the right, I expect the rudder to go to the right, just like I'm trying to make a right-hand turn. And it does. And then when I push the throttle up, I expect the propeller to start turning, which will be our blue flag, and it does. Now, the reflex in this particular airplane, the 1220 millimeter Ranger, it also has a little takeoff assistance or some altitude help. Let me demonstrate that real quick for you. Pay attention to our elevator here. You know, when I pull back on the stick, the elevator goes up, right? And then, once again, when I give it throttle, the little blue flag moves. Now, when I give it throttle, watch the elevator. And the elevator goes up when I give it more throttle. When I give it full throttle, the elevator moves up. So that is showing that the faster the airplane starts going or the propeller starts spinning, that the elevator gives you some uplift. You know, when you pull back on the, or down on the elevator stick, it moves the elevator up as if you're trying to make the airplane nose up. And when you give it more throttle, the elevator does that too. So it's a little takeoff assistance, just helps you out there. I'm going to flip my flight mode switch to my middle setting, which is the LED flashing rather slowly, and that is the gyro is off. No help at all. So now when I give it throttle, the elevator should not move, and it does not move. And I'm going to flip my flight mode switch to the next setting, which will put the LED flashing rapidly, and when I give it throttle now, the elevator does not move up. So you only get the takeoff assistance or the elevator helping you with the more speed when you're in the. So we're in the stabilized mode, also known as safe. So if you're flying and a gust of wind blows this left wing up, the aileron goes up with it to counteract the gust of wind. If a gust of wind, whatever, blows the tail up, the elevator goes up to counteract the wind. Yaws it to the right, then the rudder moves to the right to counteract that too. Now this is the stability mode. It keeps you stable. So let's watch the aileron here. Let's watch this one here. As the wing goes up, the aileron goes up, goes up, goes up. If you were to flip the airplane over, the ailerons are trying to figure out which way is the fastest path to righting the plane back up. Okay, when I move the wing up and the aileron stays like that, and if you also flip it all the way upside down and the ailerons are trying to right side the plane up, then you're in the stabilized mode, the self-leveling mode. We can go to the next flight mode. We're now in the middle setting where the LED is flashing slowly, so that is off. There's no help at all. Listen, you can't hear the servos doing anything. Alright, I'll go to the next flight mode, which will put the LED flashing rapidly, and that is the optimized mode, they call it. And that's just for a gust of wind. Okay, we'll flip it over real quick, and you can see the ailerons, the aliens are not trying to right side the plane up. However, if you're flying along and this wing gets blown up, the aileron goes up real quick to counteract the wind. So it's always keeping you stable. The elevator, rudder, and the aliens, but there's no keeping you level. So if you went upside down, it's not going to right side you up in this case. Keep you flying stable if you're upside down. Now, if you're in this mode here where you're just in the optimized mode, where it does not keep you self-leveled and you lose orientation or you feel like you're about to crash, you could flip the switch all the way to the stabilized, also known as safe mode, and the ailerons will try to right side you up. Oh. So that is the whole 9 yards of the FMS Reflex V2. I feel like it's a pretty good system. It is programmed for each airplane, and each airplane will have some different, things. This particular one for the 1220 millimeter Ranger, when you're in the stabilized, also known as a safe mode, and you give it full throttle, the elevator will go up to help you with some takeoff assistance and so on. So, hey guys, if you get anything out of that, give me a thumbs up. Make sure you're still subscribed. That's the best way to support what I do. When the more of you guys do that, then YouTube will put my videos in front of other people. So then I can keep on helping more. So thank you so much, guys. Once again, give me a thumbs up. Until next time, you'll see me here. Thank you, guys. Hey, happy flying.